Alright, we're back in the shop today. It's a little bit messy. I've already been doing stuff off camera. So this is going to be the wagon vise install. As you can see, I've already got my mortise cut where the vise is going to go. And then here's the vise screw itself. There's some 3D printed parts on here because it doesn't come with everything. I'll put the link to the Amazon description. The one I purchased, there's multiple that are like this. And we can go from there. So I've 3D printed some bushings, if you will, to allow this to spin freely and work as a carriage. So mortise is cut out off camera, 3D prints made off camera. One thing I will say about the screw, none of the dimensions in the listing are correct. I'll probably put the dimensions I took with calipers, my cheap Harbor Freight calipers, in the description as well. It'll probably be in a Word document. So we will go from there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to measure this at a couple points here, see what we get, and probably in just a minute I'll go start modeling the rails for the carriage for the actual vise itself. So let's see what we've got here. 4 and 7/32. So we'll go down just a little bit. 4 and 3/16. So we'll call it 4 1/4, so that we have some room to play with. Just a hair over here. So we're relatively square, which is good. Like I said before, this is my workbench. It's not a customer piece or anything like that, so I'm not super concerned with a little bit of a square. I think we're 3/64 or 2/32 out, so not anything too crazy. Let's go ahead and pick some wood. Looking up here, it looks like I've got some maple, a little bit of walnut left. This is either sapelli or African mahogany, I'm not quite sure. And then I've got the big block from last time. Yeah, I think we're going to laminate something up here so that we can get a little bit thicker and plane down to our final dimension. So I'm going to pick out some wood and glue it up. Alright, so that's milled up. We'll have to wait on it to dry. It's sitting in front of a heater right now. So in the meantime, what we can do is start trying to... So we want everything to be concentric with the base itself. So we need to get some measurements for the center point here, and then get the thickness here so we can start getting our screw going. Our screw is going to be a tad bit oversized, looks like. So we may have to go back and do some adjustment on the 3D prints, because I don't think that will go much further. Or we may have to take about 1/4 inch off this face, which is going to be difficult. Okay, so we've been inside working on some 3D printing. You may have noticed from the time lapse that this hole is not doing what we want it to do. It does seem to be pretty straight. And then this print already broke on us. I don't know if you can see the crack here. There's a pretty sizable crack right through here. It goes all the way through the other side. You can see some sawdust stuck in it there. So, we're going to wait on that to come off the printer. In the meantime, I think we're going to start milling up our block here and seeing if we can get some rail sizing set for the guide rails. So the whole theory here is that there will be guide rails set in here that will guide the block and keep it from racking and allow us to use the vise. Then we'll have to plunge our dog holes in the block and our dog holes in the bench. So should be an exciting time. Another top tip: don't ever, even if you're in a hurry, even if you don't have the right sizes, even if you can't find the sizes you need, for any reason, get the Harbor Freight Forstner bit set. This is $45 of wasted money, just right down the drain. The only reason I went with this set over like an Irwin or something is because I needed an 1 5/8, and I may at some point in the next couple hours need an 1 3/4 for the actual block that goes on the locking lug for that vise block. So we will see how this plays out, because I don't have very much faith in these. I don't really know how to sharpen them. Okay, ignore the mess if you can see it. I'm sure you can. Like I said, Harbor Freight Forstners, not great. So we've got this locked down to the drill press. We're going to set our depth. All right, back over here at the workbench. Test fit of the plug or the carrier nut, however you want to call it. Fits nice and snug. We'll be able to put a couple screws in that to secure it. This will go like this, up and down the carrier, and honestly, now we just need to blow through the rest of the block. Okay, it looks like we have almost everything in place. Still waiting on some stuff to come off the 3D printer, but we could test fit this. So let's see what it looks like. Yes. Can't test fit Obviously that's not tight. Nor is the vise block itself. Nor is the vise block. But proof of concept works. Useless, absolutely useless scissors. Hoping that this new bushing that's going to be coming off the printer here in a couple minutes will push this back up where it needs to go. If not, we'll just have to drill new holes for this outboard piece because it's almost flush already, but okay, proof of concept works. That was what we needed. That was more than what we needed. Actually, that means it's almost done. Now, putting dog holes in this block is going to be a challenge because, in case you can't tell, the hole's not very centered. Because of a couple things that have gone awry here, but we'll see what we can do. Okay, we've got the dog holes marked. They should clear the actual vise screw. If they don't, guess we're shit out of luck on that. And we will go from there. But that said, we may laminate another piece on top of this. I just don't have a way to resaw anything to laminate more to it, which is unfortunate. Because then we can remap these holes from the bottom through the top. But everything's marked, so now we got to figure out how to drill those 3/4 inch holes because I'm pretty sure my 3/4 inch auger is burnt up. All right, 3D printed part is done. Final test fit. Let's see if this screw fits through here magically. It does. That fits in there. Buddy, looks like we've got somewhere to go. Yep, we sure do. All right, let's get this final assembly going. So just when we tighten this, you can see it trying to rotate back and forth here. And I think that's why we're going to end up needing to do guide rails, which will be at a later date. But for now, relatively nice and flush. I just need to get some screws together that are actually going to have some holding force. These two on this end are okay. As far as holding force goes. I don't know what that was, but it felt good. Felt real nice. Something just clicked into place. Taking a gamble. Before we get too far into that, I've got one screw left. Let's go ahead and test fit the handle. Handle's on with clearance. Hands down, not an option. So let's go ahead and take some measurements for that real quick while we're out here. Over here. Low mill will work over here. Awesome. Yes, I can see that being a problem. The screw biting into the 3D print. So, it has successfully ripped that entire thing out. Okay. Well, not terrible disappointment, as some would say. I think that's going to be the end of the Vice games for today. Until next time, boys and girls.